This is literally everything you need to know about using filters inside of Monday.com. By the way, if you'd like us to help you set up Monday.com for your business, check out the link in the description below. Anyway, as you can see here, I'm inside of our example Monday.com system. Now, like I mentioned, in today's video, I'm going to be walking you through in as much detail as possible how to use filter functionality. So on any board inside of Monday, you'll see this filter option up the top here. Now, typically when people click the filter option, they just click it like this. And then they're presented with this weird quick filters thing that I, having had used Monday.com for a very long time now, have not actually wrapped my head around. It essentially gives you basic filter options. What I would strongly recommend you do is completely ignore this and press switch to advanced filters in the bottom left hand corner here. Alternatively, you can just press the arrow on the right hand side of the filter button and it will take you to this page here. This is where we can create filters to see our records based on certain data points that match the filter criteria that we set. Now, you will notice up the top here, you have a filter with AI. Now, this could save you an enormous amount of time and probably make this entire video redundant. You could go ahead and enable this, and then all you need to do is write in the details of the filter functionality. Or actually, in essence, all you need to do is tell AI to show me the records that match this criteria, this criteria, this criteria, or this criteria. And then it will go ahead and set the filter functionality up for you. Okay, so that's a really efficient way of doing things. Now, if you would like to learn how to do this manually, I'm also going to show you that as well. Okay, so what we'll do is let's just add some arbitrary data points on here. So we'll add a priority column. We will add a drop down and we'll just go ahead and put in, let's say 1, I don't know, random options, 2, if this is going to load, tick tock, like Big Ben. If anyone's seen The Gentleman, they'll know the reference. 2, and then, come on. All right, let's just go for 1 and 2. Let's see if that's loaded. Yeah, it has. Awesome. So now we've got a priority. We go ahead and add this here. Status column. Let's add a couple of additional labels as well. And then, I don't know, yes, in green. And then we can add some other items as well. So we want to set up some filter functionality to find different items based on the different data points that match. And I've just kind of made a mess of this intentionally just to give you an idea as to how this is going to work. Okay, so go to our filter drop down menu, and then I'm not going to use filter with AI. You're more than welcome to experiment with that. First and foremost, let's just look at the basics. So oh dear, what's going on here? Right, for whatever reason, Monday.com completely broke there, but I've recreated it. So we're going to go to our filter functionality. Like I said, we're not going to use the filter with AI. We're just going to, you can if you want, of course, but let's just start with the absolute basics. So first and foremost, we've got the column or the data point that we're looking to filter on. So we have a selection of all of the data points that are available on this particular board here. So in this case, just to keep it simple, I'm going to go ahead and select the priority. And then I've got my logic. So is equal to, is not equal to, text is not, is empty, is not empty. And then I can select my option. Okay, so in the case of a status option, for example, it's only going to show me the drop down options that are within that particular status. So in this instance, if I select critical, it's then only going to show me the records that match the filter where the priority is equal to critical. Now I can then reverse this. I could say is not equal to critical, then it's going to show me all of the data points that are not equal to critical, or the records that are not equal to critical. Okay, so that's pretty self-explanatory in the sense that you select a data point and then you say, let's say the drop down is equal to 1, and then it's only going to show me the records where the value is equal to 1. So that's, again, pretty straightforward. Now what you can then do is add additional filters. So you could then go where drop down is equal to 1 and then say and where priority is equal to critical. So you can have multiple layers of filter functionality. So drop down is 1 and priority is equal to critical. Now you'll notice you have this and option on the left hand side here. You can switch between and or. So you could say where drop down is 1 or priority is critical. So that's going to show you one or the other. So you can see here that this value is equal to 1 or the value is critical. So if I go ahead and change this to, let's say, a 2, for example, it's going to show me the value here is 2 or the value is critical for the priority, right? Now what you can then do is add another filter, And you'll notice on the left-hand side here that this is also an OR, but we cannot change it in the sense that if this is an OR, then this is an OR as well. What do I mean by that? If I then change this to AND, then it's going to add it as an AND as well. And I'll come on to how we can get around this in a moment. But we go drop down is to, or priority is critical, or status is, let's say, AA as an example. So we can go ahead and we can see, and I don't know where my status column has gone. It seems as if none of them are AA, so that doesn't matter at all. I could then go ahead and clear that if I wanted to. If I then change this to AND, it's gonna show me, or at least show me any record that matches. Drop down is equal to, and priority is critical, and status is equal to AA. So if I then change this to 1 and then remove that, it's going to show me all of the records that match. But it's important to note here that if you have an AND function, then all of the others in this particular what's called a group will be an AND as well. You can't have AND OR with this basic setup here. But what you can then do is you can remove all of these and then add a grouping. Okay, so what you would need to do is just remove all of the filters, then press plus group, and then make sure you press cross on this to get rid of it. So then we can create different groups. Okay, this is obviously more advanced filter functionality, but this is where we would say, show me where the status is equal to AA. So have we got any? No, evidently not. So let's go number 2, for example, and then we've got the AND function. Same applies with just the standard filter setup. Let's go priority is equal to critical. So now we have only one record. But what we can then do is we can add a new group as well. And then we can say on the group level, it's going to be an OR function. So we go where status is to and priority is critical, or another group, and then within the group we can say where the, let's say, the drop down is equal to number 1 as an example. So you can see how this then works. So you would have where this is one group, and this is how we split it and ultimately scale our filter functionality is you use this group option. So we can create our ANDs function, and then we can do exactly the same here as well. So where you could go where status is 2 and priority is critical, or where drop down is 1 and let's go priority is high, for example. So now it's going to show me where all of the records match this. Now, if I then change this to an AND function, we've now got 2 groups where status is 2 and priority is and drop down and priority. Now, in my opinion, it wouldn't make sense to have these in separate groups. Groups are actually best for the OR function, because what I would probably do in this case is, this is very, very particular. I would just have this all in one group, or I wouldn't have any groups at all, in the sense that I would just use the standard filter functionality. Groups are best for when you have a series of data points that you want to track for one record, and then you have an or a series of data points for another. So you would go group again, remove the basic filter where this is equal to, and then add another group and make sure that's an or, and then you can go ahead and do the same, and you can do as many as you want. But again, just be mindful, and I don't know why Monday.com does this, is if you have a third group or a fourth group, the second group dictates the third or fourth. So you go or and then and. You see what I mean, right? So I would typically just use this for the or. You might need multiple groups for or, that's up to you. In most cases, if it's going to be an and, so you don't need groups, you can just create a filter. You can create groups for an and as well, of course, but if it's just one long, very strict data point, then it's just going to be a series of filters, right? Whereas with the grouping functionality, you might have filters or a group. You can see you can have both set up as well. So you can say where the priority is equal to medium, or where the, let's say, the status is equal to, it doesn't seem like we've got a medium, so that's quite good. Where status is equal to 2, and then within the group, we can then have the AND function. Okay, so then you go priority is equal to critical, and we have that as an AND. So now it's showing us that we have one record that matches. So that's kind of the basics and pretty much all you really need to know about filter functionality inside of Monday. You can then save this as a new view. In order to save any filter, you save it as a new view. That creates a new view up the top. And then if I go back to my main table, it's going to show me all of my records. And then I can go to that particular view. You can then rename this view as, I'm going to call this filter example number 1. And then you can go in and you can see the filters that you've set up. if you make any changes, so let's say I get rid of this and then I go away and then come back, usually that filter will have not saved. So what you need to do is close it or remove whatever you want to do or adjust the filter, and then always make sure to press save to this view, because I've made this mistake in the past where I've made changes to a filter, loads of changes, gone away and then come back, forgotten to save, and then I had to rebuild the whole thing again. So just be mindful of that. But the basics apply, right? So forget this thing, quick filters, use the drop down menu. You can use AI. A basic filter is where status is equal to, let's say 2, for example. That's nice and easy. You can have then multiple layers of that filter. And then if you want to get into the OR function, you can go ahead and create groups. Okay, so that's what groups are for. And then within a group, there are multiple filters, and then you can set that as the OR. But you'll see here again, because you can only dictate the and or at the second option, I would always make sure to just use groups instead. Okay, so that's pretty much everything you need to know. And then obviously you save your filtered set up as a new view, and then you can go to your different views up the top here. But that's pretty much everything you need to know. I appreciate this is short and sweet. This is probably going to take some testing out. What I will also mention is, per all of the different data points, such as let's say a date column, your conditions are going to be very different. So if I look at where date is not, in the next, in the last, is between, is on, or after, is after, these are specific to the date column. Whereas if I go person, is not assigned, is assigned, contains, does not contain, starts with. If I go to, let's say, example board number 2, we've got different options again. If I go to item ID, you're going to have different options again. If you go to, let's say, the priority column, again, you are going to have different options. So I'd say the timeline column and the date column, there are major differences. Otherwise, it's fairly generic with some odd changes between different columns. And there are obviously some edge cases as well. But again, you just need to test these out. So where date is not, is between, and then you can select your dates, is only, is anything but, is empty. And you get the idea, right? It might be easier to test it with AI first. So if I was brand new to Monday.com and I wanted to learn filters, maybe I hadn't done much filtering in the past before, I would probably ask the AI function. So let's say, show me all the records where the priority is critical and the drop down is 1, or show me where the drop down is equal to 2. And then let's press generate filter to see how much of a good job AI does as it continues to replace us as human beings. There we go. So you kind of get the idea, right? Interesting that it's decided not to put it in a group. I probably would have put that in a group. So you go where priority is. So I would have done it like this. So pretty much perfect for this one. And then I would have removed that, and then I would have gone and added it into a new group. And I think I said where drop down is equal to 2, because then it's more scalable. And then if I wanted to add more, I can do. And then you go ahead and just press save as new view. And now you have a new view up the top here. So you've only got to give the AI instruction. It's pretty straightforward. And then obviously different variables by different data points, test it out, mess around. Hopefully this video has been helpful. If you would like us to help you set up Monday.com for your business, check out the link in the description below. We would love to help. Thank you ever so much for watching, and I'll see you soon. Goodbye.